How do I write a synthesis paper? I was told to write about mob mentality and Lord of the Flies.
All right, so I'll take that one, and really we could do a whole show about this, but I'll try to break it down kind of into some steps. Whenever you're writing synthesis, you want to consider your purpose. Are you writing an explanatory thesis or an argument thesis? You want to select and read your sources, and those sources should be gathered in according to your purpose, and then formulate a thesis. If you are writing an argument, this thesis needs to be debatable. It shouldn't state a fact. It basically should state an opinion or some kind of argument that could be debated. Then you need to decide how your source material will be used and take notes on that, and then develop a plan, an organization plan. Are you going to do an outline? Are you just going to follow your own kind of format while you're brainstorming? But to follow the writing process, you definitely want to think, plan, and write. Don't just try to sit down and write. But to kind of talk about mob mentality and Lord of the Flies, there are a ton of articles out there about mob mentality in modern history. You want to get a good definition of that. Basically, mob mentality is people acting in certain ways within a group that they may not act that way outside of the group. So this is why it's illegal to yell fire in a crowded place, because people are going to instinctively run towards the door, and if you see two people running one way, you're probably going to follow them. And so that's kind of that mentality. But also in situations like riots and any other bad situation where people are acting within the group and maybe wouldn't act that way if they were just on their own. And so since I'm hoping you've read Lord of the Flies, you've seen that these kids, these little tiny kids, have been put into this situation with no adults, and they are acting out. They start, in one way, and then they move towards more violent actions. And so I'm sure what your teacher is asking for is for you to kind of synthesize the information, how people act whenever they are in a large group, and how that's reflected in Lord of the Flies. So again, if this is explanatory, you're just going to help readers understand this topic, make those connections between Lord of the Flies and the whole concept of mob mentality. But if it's an argument, you would want to state that, that these characters in this story were put into this situation against their control, and how they're acting is a reflection of their environment or something else, because the arguable essay is going to discuss one side or another that could be debated. Synthesis essays are really important in high school, and I'm sure that they're kind of branching on that topic in middle school. So again, if you're writing something specific and need some specific help, make sure you send in those questions. But I hope that I was able to kind of answer that. I know it's kind of long-winded, but hopefully that helps.